Hey everyone, and welcome back to Everyday Empowerment English. We are so happy to have you with us again. I'm Mia.
Yes, and this is Alex. Welcome back to our amazing community of English learners.
Have you ever apologized for your accent, rushed through your sentences to avoid mistakes, or even stayed silent because you feared judgment?
Do you ever feel like your English holds you back, like fear is a constant battle when you try to speak?
These aren't just language struggles, they're battles with fear, and that's what we're tackling head on today.
That's right, we want you to become fearless. Now, notice we say fearless, not fearless, because we're not about magically erasing fear. That's not realistic. Fearless is about being less controlled by fear, learning to manage it so it doesn't stop you.
If that sounds interesting, keep listening, because in this episode, we're going to reveal 3 success habits that will help you take back control and finally speak English with power, not fear.
Are you ready to stop letting fear win and start speaking English with confidence? Let's dive in.
Okay, let's dive into our first habit for speaking English with less fear, and it's all about smart preparation. It's about being ready with flexible, ready to use phrases instead of trying to memorize long speeches.
Habit number 1 to prepare phrases, not speeches. This is your secret weapon against feeling tongue-tied in conversations.
Imagine you're at a networking event. You're meeting new people and someone asks, "So what do you do?" For many English learners, that simple question can trigger panic, fear of not knowing how to answer, fear of making mistakes, or fear of sounding boring.
Exactly. But what if you had a simple way to feel more in control right from the start? That's what this habit gives you. Why does preparing phrases actually reduce fear? Much of our fear comes from cognitive overload when our brain tries to think of words, understand the conversation, and worry about mistakes all at once. It's like having too many tabs open in your browser.
Right. When you prepare go-to phrases, you create mental shortcuts. These phrases become tools that your brain can use quickly, so it doesn't have to work so hard in those nerve-wracking moments.
It also builds a sense of control. When you feel unprepared, fear takes over. But having these go-to phrases gives you something solid to rely on, which helps reduce your anxiety.
So, how do you actually implement this habit? It's simpler than you might think. Start by creating your own collection of go-to phrases.
Step 1, identify 3 common conversation situations that make you feel nervous. Think about where you usually stumble, maybe starting small talk, asking for help, or expressing your opinion.
Step 2, for each situation, prepare 2 or 3 go-to phrases. Keep them short, natural, and easy to remember.
Let's look at some examples. If you face awkward silences in small talk, you could use, "How's your week been?" or "Did you do anything fun this weekend?" If you worry about not understanding, prepare. "Could you please speak a little slower?" or "Could you explain that in another way?" And if you need a moment to think before answering, try, "That's an interesting question. Let me gather my thoughts." Or "I need a moment to think about that."
Step 3, practice these go-to phrases aloud regularly. Don't just read them silently. Say them out loud. Practice their pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation until they feel natural in your conversations.
And finally, your action step for today. Right after this episode, choose just one common English conversation scenario that makes you feel a little nervous.
Then prepare just one go-to phrase for that scenario. Keep it simple, keep it useful. Write it down, say it aloud a few times, and commit to practicing it at least 5 times today.
That's your starting point for habit 1 of prepare phrases, not speeches. Even this small action will shift your mindset from fear to preparedness, and that's a huge step toward confident English speaking.
All right, let's move on to habit 2, which is all about finding power in stillness, pause, and breathe.
This habit helps you overcome the fear of sounding unnatural, rushed, or robotic when you speak English.
Imagine you're doing a presentation in English. You want to sound professional and confident, but you worry about speaking too slowly or having awkward silences. So instead, you rush your words, trying to fill every gap with sound.
We know that feeling. Rushing can actually make your English less clear and more nervous. But here's the secret: using pauses makes you sound more confident.
Let's talk about why this works. Why do pauses help build confidence, even if it seems odd to use silence to speak more clearly?
Well, think about confident speakers. They use pauses on purpose. When you intentionally pause, it shows your listener that you are thoughtful and in control. Rushing, on the other hand, makes you seem anxious and makes it hard for others to follow your message.
Plus, taking a pause helps you feel calmer. When you're nervous, your body tenses up and your breathing becomes shallow. By pausing, you can take a deep breath that lowers stress and calms your nerves, almost like a mini meditation during a conversation.
Exactly. Now, let's discuss how you can put pause and breathe into practice.
Step 1, use the 2-second pause rule. Before you answer a question or finish a sentence, pause for about 2 seconds. Count 1, 2 silently in your head.
It might feel a bit long to you, but to your listener, a 2-second pause sounds natural and thoughtful. And if the pause ever feels too long in your mind, try smiling or nodding while you pause. It shows you're thoughtful, not lost.
Step 2, practice with recordings. Record yourself speaking, maybe answer a practice question or describe something. Listen back to see if you're rushing or avoiding silence.
Then re-record the same segment, this time adding short pauses at natural breaks in your sentences. You'll be surprised at how much more confident and clear your speech sounds when you embrace these pauses.
Step 3, to become a pause observer in real life. Listen carefully to how confident speakers use pauses in conversations, podcasts, or presentations. Notice where they pause and how long they pause. Learn from them and try to apply these techniques in your own speech.
By practicing these steps, you'll build a natural rhythm in your speech that makes you sound calm and confident even in stressful situations.
Let's move on to habit 3, which is all about embracing who you are, own your uniqueness, including accent.
This success habit directly combats the fear of being judged for your accent or sounding not good enough in English.
Think about this very common fear. You're about to speak in English and you immediately worry about your accent. You might even apologize for it before you say anything. You're focused on hiding your accent, trying to sound like someone else.
We hear that all the time. Apologizing for your accent drains your confidence. But here's the truth, your accent is part of your unique voice, and owning it is powerful.
Let's explore why accepting your accent is so important. It might seem like your accent is a weakness to overcome, but it isn't.
Exactly, many learners see their accent as a problem. But psychologically, trying to hide your accent actually increases anxiety. You constantly monitor your pronunciation, feel self-conscious, and worry about mistakes. This extra mental work distracts you from the message you want to share.
On the other hand, owning your accent is liberating. It's all about self-acceptance. When you stop fighting your natural way of speaking, you can focus on what you're saying, not how you sound. This self-acceptance boosts your confidence and reduces the fear of judgment.
Plus, your uniqueness makes you memorable. In a globalized world, diverse accents are normal and even fascinating. Your accent is part of your personal brand. Owning it helps you stand out and be remembered.
So, how do we put this habit into practice? It starts with a change in mindset and some simple steps.
Step 1, stop apologizing for your accent. Consciously remove apology phrases from your vocabulary. No more saying, sorry for my English or my accent is bad.
Replace apologies with confidence affirmations. Before speaking, tell yourself, my accent is part of who I am, or my voice is unique and valuable. It may feel a bit strange at first, but these small affirmations make a big difference over time.
Step 2, focus on clear communication, not perfect pronunciation. Instead of trying to sound like a native speaker, aim to be understood. Clear pronunciation comes from good enunciation and pacing, not from erasing your accent.
Right. Practice using your go-to phrases as we discussed in Habit 1 to ensure clarity, and don't worry about perfecting your accent.
Step 3, find accent role models and celebrate diversity. Listen to confident English speakers with diverse accents. Podcast interviews, online talks are great for this. Recognize that there are many valid, understandable accents in English. Celebrate your own accent as part of that rich diversity.
Now, before we wrap up, let's take a moment to boost your English vocabulary. Well, head-on means to deal with a problem directly and with determination. Example today, we're tackling head on the fear of speaking English. Tongue-tied means unable to speak easily because of nervousness or shyness. Example. This habit is your secret weapon against feeling tongue-tied in conversations. Cognitive overload means when your brain has too much information to process at once. Example, much of our fear comes from cognitive overload when our brain tries to think of words, understand the conversation, and worry about mistakes all at once. Nerve-wracking means causing anxiety or nervousness. Example, these phrases become tools that your brain can use quickly, so it doesn't have to work so hard in those nerve-wracking moments. Rely on means to depend on someone or something. Example, and having these go-to phrases gives you something solid to rely on. Intonation means the rise and fall of your voice when you speak. Examples, say them out loud, practice their pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. On purpose means intentionally, not by accident. Example, well, think about confident speakers, but they use pauses on purpose. Tense up means to become stiff or tight due to nervousness or stress. Example, when you're nervous, your body tenses up and your breathing becomes shallow. Drain means to gradually use up someone's strength or confidence. Example, apologizing for your accent drains your confidence. Liberating means making you feel free from restrictions or feelings of oppression. Example, on the other hand, owning your accent is liberating. Consciously means with awareness of what you are doing. Example, consciously remove apology phrases from your vocabulary. Affirmations means positive statements that you say to yourself to encourage a certain feeling or belief. Example, replace apologies with confidence affirmations. Enunciation means the clear and distinct pronunciation of words. Example, a clear pronunciation comes from good enunciation and pacing, not from erasing your accent. Pacing means the speed at which you speak. Example, clear pronunciation comes from good enunciation and pacing, not from erasing your accent.
So there you have it, our 3 success habits to help you take control and speak English with confidence, not fear.
Well, remember, becoming fearless isn't about eliminating fear completely. It's about learning to manage it.
Start small. Start with 1 habit and be patient with yourself.
And know that you're not alone on this journey. You've got this. We believe in you.
Thank you so much for joining us on Everyday Empowerment English. We hope these habits inspire you to take action and move closer to your English speaking goals.
But don't forget to check out the free PDF for a summary of these 3 fearless habits and extra resources to help you practice.
And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with another English learner who might benefit. Your support helps us reach more people and empower them on their English journey.
We love hearing from you. Let us know which of these habits you're going to try first in the comments section.
Until next time, keep practicing and speak fearless.